Howdy folks in internet land. We are major bona fide activistas in MassCann Norml, and we've been collecting postcards to try and encourage Representative Jeffrey Sanchez from Jamaica Plain to allow his committee to vote on a medical marijuana bill that's been sat on by his committee for over a half a year since its public hearing. And so we've had activists out collecting cards, and I've got this great batch of cards. Look at this. Isn't that a huge stack of people from Jeff Sanchez's district who say they want medical marijuana? Well, look, that's not all. Look, my good buddy Scott Gacek, wait a second, this is a surprise. Scott Gacek has another pile here. See that? Look at all those people who think that medical marijuana in Jeff Sanchez's district should be allowed to be voted on by his committee. We're not even asking him to vote for it. We're just saying, let your committee vote on it. I mean, after all, that is your responsibility, to have your committee vote on bills. That's what they're supposed to do, not sit on them until they die. And here's John Gibson, another major activist from MassCann Norml, and he also has collected this giant stack of cards. Look at this. Look at all these cards he collected. Doesn't that look like a lot of cards that Scott Gacek and John Gibson and Bill Downey have collected to try and convince this representative, who actually represents a very tiny district? It's just Jamaica Plain, not a lot of people. So there's probably a lot of people out of his district, right? These stacks of cards. Well, oh wow! These aren't all the cards we collected. Here, John, hold on to these. Scott, here, take a couple of these. Wow, look at that! Hey, there's a couple more!
Want to give me some more?
John has some more. Scott has some more. And what are these? Oh, look! There's even some more! And what are these? Holy shit! What's going on here? It looks like MassCann collected a whole crap load of these cards. And how easy was it? Well, I'll tell you how easy it was. It was easy as pie. Everybody wanted to sign them. We had to beat them off with a stick. And we've got thousands of, well, we've got over 1,000. I mean, that's not all. I've got some more. See, here's all these here too. We got a ton of these. Look at all these cards. Jeff Sanchez, let your committee vote on medical marijuana. That's all you have to do. And we know it'll pass. And if it passes, tens of thousands of people in Massachusetts will not suffer quite as much. And it'll be thanks to you. And it's so easy. Please do it.
Thanks, guys. So what's the plan on the cards again? What are we going to do with these?
Well, we've got to give them to Jeff Sanchez, and we've got to do it in a way that allows people in his district to understand what's happening. We don't want to do this and just have him say thank you for the cards and then, you know, have no consequences at all for his inaction on this issue. So what we've got to do is we've got to get the press there, we've got to get the people there, we've got to get people to sign up to come down to the State House with us when we go there to present these cards and make this as big a splash as we possibly can. This has to be a media event, this has to be a populist event, this has to be something that's big enough so we can impress Sanchez with the idea that it's an important issue, that people are suffering every day, and that every second, every hour of suffering is more than can be bared by any person who has any compassion whatsoever. So if he has any compassion, he has to allow his committee to vote. That's it.
Anything you guys want to say? How hard was it?
It was easy. Nobody was refusing us when we said, hey, medical marijuana, were you interested in supporting it? They would always come up and sign. We got tons of signatures. It was one of the easiest signature gatherings I've ever been involved in.
Awesome. Thanks for doing it.
You're welcome.
There was I remember there was this one woman, she was 71 years old. She comes up to me. She had overheard when I was talking to somebody else. She was walking by. She says, you know, I'm 71 years old. I've been smoking pot for 50 years. It's about goddamn time someone does something about this shit. I wish I had that on video.
It was amazing how many older people are in support. There was a poll that was
It's overwhelmingly the
right.
elderly, the older
That's
people were overwhelmingly supportive. Oh, like they were signing. There was a woman. I had one woman offer to sign. It was a little slippery out. She couldn't walk that well. She was an elderly woman. She was supported on either side by a family member as she was walking out, and she paused to sign a card.
Anyway, there was a poll that was run by Channel 7 and Suffolk University, and it showed tremendous support in the high 80s amongst elderly voters in the states, in Massachusetts here, likely voters. So, good night. So we know that the support amongst those people is humongous. And that's so unusual because there is such a high percentage of the voting population. I guess we've seen that with the question 2 results, 65%, 68%. We know medical is going to be much higher. I've said this many times, and it's total horseshit coming out of my mouth. I have no idea whether it's true or not, but because nobody has told me I'm wrong, and I keep saying it until somebody tells me different. The truth is, there is not a single friggin' issue before our legislature right now that has as much popular support as medical marijuana. When is somebody going to try and prove me wrong? I've never heard anybody come up to me and say, Downey, you're full of shit. Medical marijuana is not the most lopsided issue before the legislature this session.
Not on this topic.
Get in here.
He may be full of shit, but not on this topic.
Granted.
All right.
I have no good defense for that.
Oh, man.
Who are we talking to? Mike sees medical marijuana. Mike sees.
About the postcard.
It's really a no-brainer. As my letter published in the Eagle Tribune today calls Senator Bador on the mat because he says the Democrats have to restore our confidence in them. Well, what better way than to go along with the will of some 80% of the voters? It's a no-brainer to me as a politician. It's why Mike Capuano didn't beat Coakley in the primary, because he didn't raise the topic. Had he raised the topic, it was a winner. That she didn't attack him on his correct stance on marijuana, that's a signal for him to attack her on support of question 2, opposition to question 2. Because she's mad Martha. Sad thing is, got an email today, a fellow who I have to check the email address to even identify, who voted for Brown and not for Joe Kennedy because he wanted to vote against Martha Coakley. Well, there's a catch-22 for you. As it turned out, David Paleologus, right on the button. Right on the button. Over the weekend, he came out and said, Brown's going to win. There was no reason to abandon principle. Joe Kennedy, he was right on more things than wrong on things. He was the best candidate. Absolutely. Vote non-party candidates where possible. But vote.
Nice article.